indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Under announcements tonight, I don't think anybody else is closing any more bridges. DOT is going to close a bridge on 82. County's going to close a bridge on Palin Road. If the federal government comes in, I think the only thing they can close is the Beacon Newburgh Bridge. So I think we're safe. That being said, this weekend is Town of East Fishkill Arbor and Earth Day celebration. The date is Saturday, April 26th. It's at Red Wing Park. The time is 9 a.m. to 12 noon. And the theme is human footprint. There's going to be demonstrations, children and adult activities, and it says dress for planting. I also know there's going to be a rain barrel workshop. So if you're interested in Arbor Day, and I'll be there, I think it's a great celebration. And Saturday, Red Wing Park, April 26th. Be ready to plant trees. Sunday, April 27th at 3 p.m., the East Fishkill Historical Society invites the public to a presentation by local author Anthony Musso, Historic Treasures of the Hudson Valley. That will be right here at the East Fishkill Town Hall. So Sunday, April 27th, 3 p.m., if you're not doing anything, it's going to be an interesting discussion, lecture on historic treasures. Admission is free and refreshments will be provided, but you have to stay for the talk. So something to look forward to. That's it for this weekend. For these announcements, Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Councilperson Cassidy is absent. Councilperson D'Alessandro.
Present.
Councilperson Franco.
Present.
Councilperson Marinaro.
Present.
Supervisor Hickman.
Present. Thank you, Madam Clerk. The minutes of the March 27th, 2014 have been submitted to the Town Board. Madam Clerk, have there been any additions, changes, or deletions to those minutes?
No, there has not.
There being none, do I have a motion to accept the minutes of March 27th, 2014?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Under receipt and file, oh yes, we have that letter from Dutchess County, rehabilitation of the bridge E9, Palin Road over Fishkill Creek, Town of East Fishkill, Dutchess County. Let me just ponder that. Let me just get down. It is anticipated the road will be closed for approximately 6 to 8 weeks, beginning on or around April 28th. During this time, there will be a posted detour that utilizes New York State routes 52, 376, and 82. And the work that they'll be doing will be removing the existing system of guide rails and replacing it. So I certainly hope Dutchess County can do that in less than 8 weeks. But that is part of a receipt and file. And for the public, just be aware that that bridge will be closed beginning around April 28th. All right, that being it. Public hearings tonight. Public hearings, we have none. Public comments on agenda items only. Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to speak on any item on the agenda? Anybody at all?
Good evening. I'd like to speak on item number 3 regarding accepting the MS4 report at this meeting. I see Mr. Artis is present for that. My question is, on May 22nd, that will be open for public comment. The question is, will Mr. Artis be present at that meeting also?
No.
He will not. Okay. At that May 22nd meeting, it says that it will be, public comments may be heard. I presume that you'll take questions also.
Excuse me?
I presume at that meeting you'll take questions regarding the MS4.
We're taking comments, public comments on the MS4 document.
As per GP 010002, New York State DEC, on page 31, Part 7A, 2D, stipulates that you will take questions.
Comments, questions? Yes.
That's it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Would you give me that number again on that paragraph that you cited? Would you please come back up to the microphone and just give me that? And the document that you're reading from?
It's New York State DEC, G. George P. Peter, 010 002 It's on page 31, Part 7A, 2D like David.
Okay. Thank you very much. Are there any other comments on agenda items? Okay, there being none, we're going to resolutions. The first resolution to appoint a planning board permanent member and an alternate member. We have a opening on the planning board for a sitting member, and we have an alternate that's been working for us for a few years now. He's done a terrific job. We'd like to put him on in that open position, and then we have two very good applicants that have applied for the now soon to be open alternate position. So do I have a motion to appoint Craig Smith to that open position on the board, and do I have a motion for an alternate?
I make a motion for for an alternate. I'd like to nominate Steve Caswell for that alternate position. I'd also like to add that there were two very qualified people that we had to choose from, and unfortunately, we had to pick one. So I make the motion to nominate Steve Caswell for that position.
Second.
Second? Any discussion? I would have to just echo what Councilman Franco just said. We had two very good applicants, and I would certainly like to keep the applicant that is not appointed tonight, keep his application on file in case of another opening does come forward. We have a motion to appoint Craig Smith to the open position on the planning board, and Steve Caswell to the newly open position as an alternate. We have a motion, a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Councilman D'Alessandro, would you read resolution number 2?
Sure. Whereas the planning board has reviewed the request of Toll Brothers to reduce the amount of the performance bond on the Four Corners subdivision, excuse me, and based on the amount of work, a reduction is warranted, and now therefore be it resolved that upon posting a bond in an amount of $1,499,900 by Toll Brothers, the town clerk is authorized to release the prior performance bonds of $2,969,700 posted by them with respect to the Four Corners subdivision.
Thank you, Councilman. We also have a memo from the Secretary to the Planning Board at their meeting March 18th. Planning Board voted to reduce the performance bond for Four Corners to that amount. Do I have a motion to accept the reduced performance bond?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Resolution number 3 is to authorize, oops, that was an oops. Here we are. Resolution number 3 was to authorize for the acceptance of the MS4 annual report, whereas the town is mandated by New York State DEC to enforce the MS4 rules and regulations within the town, and the town's MS4 consultant has submitted the town's annual report for review and acceptance. The town can offer comments on report either in writing or orally at the public comments agenda items. Actually, what I would like to propose to the board is if we could just take the public comments or questions, however you'd like to phrase it, at the when we do the resolution, possibly the next town board meeting, because I know we already have a public hearing, and we're also going to have another hearing. So why don't we do it during the resolution part of that meeting? And Walter, our MS4 guy is here, so I'd like to have him stand up for a quick minute. And just before we accept this, our MS4 report is in order, Walter?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
We're generally consistent with last year's report. The main thing of note were the last year of the 5-year permit cycle will be a new permit in 2015. We don't know what the MS4 permit's going to look like yet, or do we know what the construction permit going to look like yet. I would suspect this summer the DEC will issue a draft permit, and then if they follow the similar protocol they did in 2010, they'll hold some sessions during the summer where you're invited to come and provide input and discussion with them. I attended 2 of them in 2010, so I would plan to do that again and hopefully have some
Okay.
input.
Very good. Walter, we certainly do appreciate having you on board as our MS4 consultant. I appreciate all of your work. And you've completed our report, our annual report a little early this year. I'd like to thank you for that.
You're welcome.
It is posted on the town website. So before I go, does anybody on the board have any questions for Walter about the MS4 report? All right, with that, I will say that the public can offer comments or questions in writing or orally and I would propose to do this at the resolution of the next town board meeting. So therefore be resolved to propose 2013 MS4 report be and hereby is received by the town board, and that the report will be on the May 22nd agenda, and at that time we will read the resolution, then we'll ask for comments and questions from the public. Do I have a motion to accept the annual report?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Walter, appreciate all your work, and we'll be in touch.
Exactly.
Thanks. All righty. Number 5?
4.
I'm sorry, 4. Thank you. Tom, would you read? Seeing you brought that up.
Yeah, not a
Councilman
problem.
Franco, would you read this?
Sure. Whereas on various recreational sites owned and operated by the town, there are concession facilities, and the town board has reviewed requests for proposals for various vendors to utilize the concession facilities at Red Wing Park to serve the users of the facilities over the summer months. The town board has reviewed the references, the menus, and other issues pertaining to the vendors. And whereas it is the desire of the town board to authorize the use of the concessions, that the Red Wing concession facility shall be utilized by the Old School Catering from May 15, 2014 through July 15, 2014, upon payment to the town in the sum of $250, with an additional $500 security deposit, and to pay an additional $250 to extend their services from July 16, 2014 to September 1, 2014. And upon agreement of the vendor to be open during all activities and events at the site as set forth in the annexed proposal, and be it further resolved that all of the vendors shall sign a letter of agreement as prepared by the town attorney and provide to the town attorney for approval certificates of insurance prior to entering upon the use of the concession facilities.
Thank you, Councilman Franco. I would like to point out one thing. We've been trying to get a little bit of a handle on. Councilman Cassie isn't with us tonight, but it seems like we always get into the discussion about how much does the electricity cost us down there, and is this going to cover the electrical? Now, Mark Pozniak, our controller, and I went down. We took a road trip last week and looked at the facilities. I'm not sure if the 500 is going to cover the full amount of the electricity, because what happens when you go down to Red Wing, they have 1 meter, and there's also showers and things like that. We've looked at the bills, and Mark, was last year's electric bill was, what did we figure about?
Over the summer, it was roughly $1,000.
About $1,000. So the $500 is going to be kind of close, and that's without any capacity zone increases or any of these other increases to the electrical. But on the other hand, what I'd like to point out, we're really not looking to make money on this. We're looking to provide a service, and my concern is if we don't have a vendor down there, I mean, Red Wing is a nice park, but you do want to have somebody there. So I would like to propose that we accept the $500 this year. We take a look, and we'll get a better idea next year of the electrical, and then we'll raise it next year maybe to $600 or whatever it's going to cost to cover it. Because here we are almost in May, and I hate not to have a concession down there this year. We have, on Councilman Cassie's behalf, we have taken a look at this, and we just can't break it right down right now. So it may be a wash, we may lose a little bit of money, but I think the important thing is that we do have a vendor down there for the summer. And I know last year he had some issues with the weather, with losing the power, and I think they lost a lot of electricity. I throw that out, it's broken down into 2 payments. If the board feels like they'd like to raise it up to $600, we could do that. I have no problem with that, but I don't know if the concessionaire is going to say, okay, I'll do it for that, or what. So, any discussion, any thoughts on the board?
Well, Red Wing's sort of a tough place for anybody to be selling food, but you want to have that opportunity for somebody to be there in case people want something. But there's also, people can also bring things and grill.
Yeah.
So it's sort of a,
It's
a tough balancing act.
Yeah. I would be fine with accepting this year, and again, looking at it, trying to track. At last year's electrical rates, we'd probably be okay. If we do get these increases, then it's anybody's guess. And we'll see what happens. Councilman D'Alessandro, any thoughts?
Well, can't we put something in there where they would be liable for if there is any overage because of the energy increase?
We could put something in if the concessionaire would agree to it, that at the last payment or before the security is released, we would charge them for any
Excuse me.
electricity used in excess of. But the problem with that is because we only have the 1 meter, and then you have the kids with the showers and things. That's what makes it a little complicated. Councilman Marinaro, any thoughts?
I personally will leave it as it is. I mean, like you said, John, we are providing a service for the community, and if the cost is really not exorbitant.
Yeah.
We know that the energy costs are going up, but maybe we'll see next year what happens.
We'll take a look at it, keep an eye on it.
I will keep everything as it is this year, and, you know, they're not making millions on these deals, so.
I don't think so. So,
And they're providing a service for the community.
yeah.
So.
And Red Wing is a little bit removed, so if you did want to go out, if you wanted to get a soda and you had to drive out, you'd have to drive a ways, so. Okay, that being said, we will track it for next year. Mark will go down, we'll read the meter at the end of the year, see what the meter reading is, we'll check the last bill and try to get a handle on. Our comptroller's frowning. Controllers frown if you're ever going to lose a couple of cents. I know they're that way. But we'll track it. I'm not good at flipping hamburgers, so if I have to go down there, we have a big problem. So we'll track it, and we'll do our best to next year be a little bit more on top of it. And I think at that point, earlier in the year, we will advertise and set a different rate. But that being said, do I have a motion to authorize the Red Wing concession bid?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. I thought it wore everybody out with that one. All right. Councilman, would you like to drink a water or something?
Thank you.
All righty. Number 5 is to authorize town board as lead agency for Sports Dome project, whereas Hopewell Sports Dome Ventures has filed a petition to amend the zoning ordinance and site plan application to build an air-supported dome. Whereas the board previously authorized circulation of a notice of its intent to be lead agency under SECRA, and said notice has been circulated and no objection has been received, therefore be resolved, the town board does hereby declare itself to be lead agency in the above project, and that the town's consultants are authorized to forward the appropriate notification of the same. So this means we will be the lead agency in the Sports Dome project going forward. Do I have a motion to authorize the town board as lead agency?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Number 6 is to authorize lawn mowing bids. Town's responsible for mowing certain cemeteries. Well, let me just cut to the chase. We do this every year. We need to mow our cemeteries. We also bid out for the Special Park District, Loma La Park District, town cemeteries, and the town park and rides. We've circulated bids. We only got one response. The gentleman has done work for us. He was the bidder last year. I think a low bidder. I might have been the only bidder last year. But Beech Tree does a very good job for the town of East Fishkill in this capacity. So the bids are all attached. And that being said, do I have a motion to award the bids for lawn mowing service to Beech Tree Landscaping? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carried. And again, I would say Beech Tree has been awful good. If ever anything comes up, he's always been there to take care of whatever needs to be done as far as land mowing and maintenance. This one I'm going to read, only because there was a little question about it. At the workshop, we discussed membership passes for veterans and active military for Lime Kiln Recreation Red Wing Park memberships. Also, what we're doing here tonight, the board also has gotten lists of fees for various things in recreation. season passes for Red Wing. I know, and I think Councilman D'Alessandro last at the workshop, you had brought up about the gazebo fees. I think that was really the only thing we had any issues with here, was the gazebo fees. And I talked with Recreation Director Bill Green, and he says, we just charge $25 for the gazebo. There's really, you don't eat there or anything, it's just take pictures. So
Right.
he said, we don't, resident, non-resident, it's just $25 for use of the gazebo. So otherwise, I had no problems with any of the fees. Does the board have any questions on any of the fees that have been submitted?
No, I think we reviewed this.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. That being the case, do I have a motion to set the fees for veterans and active military for Limekiln and recreation and the other fees that are so attached?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, Councilman Marinero, would you read the resolution authorizing the Cannon property RFPs?
Whereas the town board previously acquired the 150-plus acres Cannon property on Route 376 opposite the town hall, and the town board at this time considered approximately 20-plus acres to access property not needed for well fields, open space, or other municipal purposes. Whereas it is the desire of the town board to seek proposal to sell the property as described herein, and now therefore be resolved that the attached request for proposal will be sent to the participants named herein, and be it further resolved that the responses to said request shall be returned to the town clerk by June 20th, 2014.
Thank you, Councilman. As I said, we've put together the RFP. We did an RFQ earlier, or later last year, or about a few months ago, and we have pre-qualified for interested developers, and we put together the RFP. I think we've discussed this, so does anybody on the board have any questions or any comments about the RFP that we're going to be putting out? Again, this is something that is a little bit open-ended because we would like to see what the developers propose, because this is their business. They know what the outline is, they know what the criteria, what the goal that we're looking for is, and they will send it back, and we have a lot of, and Tom, as you'll correct me, but the town has a lot of leeway over what we accept, review, and if we have a project that we like, except for one or two little things, we can negotiate with the submitter.
This is not binding, it's
Yeah.
not like a bid. It's
So-
just the proposal comes in, and then there would be the regular negotiation of the regular real estate transaction.
So we have a lot of leeway with this, and I do feel that it is very important to get this RFP out there, so. Do I have a motion to authorize the Cannon property request for proposals?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. We'll get these out, and I know, when we go to the community center and see the seniors, they're always asking, where's our senior housing? So this is the first step to the town providing that for them. I appreciate it. Number 9 is to award highway truck bids. If Councilman Cassidy was here, I'd have him read this, being liaison to the highway department, but being he's not. Town board previously authorized advertisement for a 2015 Freightliner, and the bids have been received. The town board has received a summary sheet indicating all the bids received. And if you look at the bids that we've received, we got one is for the truck, the Freightliner, which we're looking for. We've used another brand, and we've had a heck of a time with that brand. And the highway superintendent would like to start using the Freightliner brand. So we're getting the truck, and then also as a separate bid for the plow equipment and the computers for the that we use on the Sanders. So it come in 2 bids. I would also mention that we did not get any bids on the 350. We do have memos were submitted by the highway superintendent. He's reviewed the bids for Newtown 6-wheeler and asked that we award the bid to Campbell Freightliner in the amount of $109,707. $109,707,000. And plow equipment bid for this truck to Zwack Inc. in the amount of $51,169. And he did also ask, we received no bid for the F-350, and he's asking that we rebid this item. So that being the case, do I have a motion to award the highway bid for the big truck and for the equipment, and then to re-advertise, to rebid for the smaller truck?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? And one of the reasons we have to get this done, to be honest with you now, is because there's such a lead time to the time we actually get the truck, and to have it in place in the fleet for, hopefully, in the next winter. There's months, it takes some months to get these things ready. So once we get them, we still have a lot of work to do, so.
So in other words, we are in need of 2 trucks? I thought it was just one that we were bidding for.
One big truck and one little truck,
Okay.
the 350. I'd have to ask Dennis how many we have. We have about 18 of our own snow trucks. This would be a snow truck. This would be replacing one of the old Internationals that would be going out of service. Again, we keep dumping money into these international, I wasn't supposed to say the brand, but into these Internationals lately, unfortunately. The smaller truck, the F-350, we had actually had budgeted because we have a bunch of 350s for the Mason, the catch basin crews, and the tree crew. We did want to replace one of them, but we didn't get any bids for that. So it'd be one of the big trucks, a snow truck, and a little truck.
Nobody wanted a bid?
For some reason, nobody bid on the 350. So we'd like to put it out again. I don't think somebody just must have missed it. I don't know who does these, so. But, so we'll put it out again if you don't mind and see what
3
happens with
proposals
that.
went out,
Yeah.
but
Now
nobody
one?
bid.
Yeah. So that's it. So I have a motion. I think I have a motion. I've lost track now.
Yeah, I made the motion.
Carol, do I have a motion and a second? Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Town Clerk. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. My clerk keeps me in line here, I tell you, she's good. All righty. I'll just talk about this one a little bit, authorizing inspection of sewer lines on property owned by IBM Brightland Solar, because with the Sports Zone project coming in on Route 52, and we know that infrastructure is hugely important here. We have a sewer plant here. We were designing and going to run a line down there to the Route 52 corridor. But in the meantime, being as the Sports Dome is moving along as a backup plan in case there's any issues or any problems, we're talking with IBM about utilizing their old sewer line that runs behind John Jay High School to their sewer plant. IBM has indicated that they have no problem with that because the type of waste that we'd actually be generating, which would be like from a Sports Dome, which would be a lot of Gatorade, I guess. They would accept that. Actually, it helps their process, it helps their sewer process. So they've indicated a willingness, but the problem is there's questions about this line that runs from the West Complex property over to the IBM. IBM will not allow any discharge into that line unless it's inspected. So I'm asking the board tonight for up to $15,000 to inspect this line. This would entail probably running a camera up it and seeing if there's any damage with a little camera, and most likely a pressure test. This money that we spend, if we do spend the up to $15,000, would be reimbursed, would be back charged. At some point this summer, we're going to be forming a sewer and water district there. This will be back charged to those entities that are in that district. And it seems like almost every day I'm getting calls from businesses down on the 52 corridor saying, are you guys bringing sewer down there because we're interested? So we've got quite a list and it keeps growing. And I think that in my mind, as far as economic development, it's very important to provide sewer down there. So this is our Plan B option, just so we're covered in case we don't get our sewer line down there from our plant. Any questions, any discussion? Scott, you're comfortable with these numbers, with the $15,000 for the inspection?
If all goes well and we just have maybe 1 or 2 breaches, I'm going to say...
Speak it to the microphone, number one. And number two, I'll point out, that's an engineer question. That's an engineer answer.
Yeah, there's a bit of an unknown, so
Yeah.
this is really our preliminary estimate.
Yeah.
Kind of gives us a week of troubleshooting, pressure testing, camera
Yeah.
work and stuff like that. So we hear that there was some kind of leak. If we're
There was some
fortunate
kind
enough
of- yeah.
to find it early on in that week, we'll be fine. If not, we'll
Okay.
be reporting as we go.
Okay, if not, you'll come back and we'll see where
But
we go
hopefully,
with this.
hopefully this will,
Okay.
it won't fix any potential leaks, but it'll identify.
Okay, and then we'll have to take a look at whatever that would cost.
Right,
But
and whether or not, the whole point of this, we think the most cost-effective way to get to the IBM plant is to utilize the existing lines.
Absolutely.
Versus running new lines, because they have a myriad of plants and facilities and
Electrical,
everything buried in the
everything,
ground.
yeah.
So, but we need to find out early on if this line is salvageable and
Yeah.
if we can get good use out of it and what the repair expense is going to be, so.
Okay, sounds good. So if the board is okay with that, I'd entertain a motion to authorize the inspection of the sewer line.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you very much.
So knowing how IBM builds things, we could be in good shape? Because
Well,
don't they
we've
build
heard-
everything to last?
We've
One
heard
would
there
think
is a
so,
leak.
but there was
There
some
was
issue,
a leak
so.
there.
Oh, there was.
Yeah, and we don't know what it was. But I'll grant you that, everything that they build, boy, oh boy, we went into those old buildings over the West Complex and...
Overbuild, right? Overbuild.
Unbelievable. And in their heyday, these were, they're phenomenal. The structures, the architecture, really, really impressive. Unfortunately, over the years, it hasn't remained, but boy. But that's IBM, they do build them well. Award sewer and operator bids, we're going to table that. And Scott, would you just like to give us a little update? We did have 3 responses to our RFPs.
Yeah, we had 3 responses, and one from our existing operator, one from an operator who was like our second candidate the last go-around, and then we had a response from a new entity. And we're going, being that we're not familiar with this new entity, we're going to be bringing them in, having some interviews, checking their background.
Checking their
and then
references.
we'll make a recommendation, so.
And what I'd like to do is, if we could, I'd like to discuss this at the workshop meeting.
Sure.
So we'll
And by
talk,
then, we will have had, some meetings with them and
Yeah.
check their references and
so we'll
such.
be able to know, hopefully, at the next voting meeting, where we're going to go with our water and sewer operators.
Yes.
Okay, and I'd like to, as I say, we'll discuss it. So we'll table the award for the bid for the water and sewer operator until the May 22nd meeting. All right, Resolution 12, authorizing a tax settlement of Due Realty, tax, it's a certiorari, whereas Due Realty, the owner of certain properties in the town of East Fishkill, has brought tax proceedings for years 2012, 2013. After review and consultation with the town's outside appraiser, it's been recommended the reduction in value in the sum of $200,000 be authorized. Now therefore be it resolved that town attorney be and hereby is authorized to execute a stipulation of settlement in the above-mentioned tax certiorari matter by reducing the assessed value from $800,000 to $600,000 for reduction of that $200,000. And be it further resolved, all officials of the town being hereby are authorized to take all steps necessary to effectuate this resolution. Tom, I always ask you this. Obviously, this does happen in tax assessment. Is there any out-of-pocket payment back from the
The
town?
total exposure is about $2,200.
$2,200 out of the
Total
town
for both years.
for both years? Okay. And then we go forward, and the assessed value going forward would be $600,000?
Correct.
Okay, $2,200 out of pocket. Okay. All right, do I have a motion authorizing a settlement of Due Realty tax certiorari?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much.
Excuse me.
Okay, 13. Councilman Franco, would you read Resolution 13?
Sure. Whereas the town police chief has provided the town board with a listing of inventory which he deems to be of no further use to the police department and thus should be removed, and whereas the town board has reviewed said list and concurs, now therefore be it resolved that the inventory listed on the annexed memo be and hereby are declared to be outdated and are to be disposed of by the town, and be it further resolved that the police chief be and hereby is authorized to dispose of said inventory by trading in for credit to purchase new inventory listed on the annexed memo without cost to the town.
Thank you, Councilman. And actually, I was at the last police department meeting where they talked about this, phasing out the old shotguns, and they seem to have quite a few of them, and bringing in some new guns, and they also want to get some flashlights. And I'll tell you the one thing about the police department, they're very good about watching their costs. Whenever they can sell their equipment or turn it in for credit and get new equipment, they've always been very good. This is actually, I would say, the town assets. We have to authorize the removal of the outdated police department inventory with the town asset list. So do I have a motion to authorize removal of outdated police department inventory in this matter?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Right, you like the Benelli or the Remington better?
Gotta have some shotguns over at the police department, I guess. I don't know. This one, I'd like to just make this resolution. I gotten a memo had come from Cornell Cooperative, who's always been very good working with us. Also, I got a call from Village Mayor, Wappingers Village Mayor Matt Alexander. And basically, they're asking us to endorse New York State Senate Bill number 5408A and Assembly Bill number 8315 to designate Wappingers Creek as an inland waterway. It's one of 5 major tributaries of the Lower Hudson River and drains watershed of approximately 211 square miles, traversing 11 towns and 2 villages within Dutchess County. It originates in wetlands and lakes in the town of Pie Plains, and the watershed spans 38 miles, enters the Hudson River. This does not really, the Wappingers Creek abuts us. This isn't really critical to the town of East Fishkill by any means. I discussed with the mayor, they just put a multi-million-dollar water plant in the town of Wappinger, and one of the mayor's concerns is that they take all steps necessary to make sure it's clean water entering in. The designation, if I'm correct, of the Wappinger Creek as an inland waterway allows those communities that the waterway passes through to access funding and technical assistance from New York State. So this really just allows them to get funds and expert help on keeping the Wappinger Creek a viable water body. Now, I say this because, as I said to some of our people, someday we may want to go down the road with our own Fishkill Creek and see if we can do something about getting that designated. I'm not going there because I don't know what the criteria are as far as designation, but the mayor did ask for us for our support here, and I myself support this bill. We've had some discussion. I know we don't all feel the same about the bill, but I think it's a worthwhile endeavor, and I do wish them well because we know we need to help these waterways as much as we can. So with that, I would ask for a motion to pass a resolution endorsing a New York State bill designating the Wappinger Creek as an inland waterway. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
A discussion from the board? I'd like any discussion.
Yeah, I cannot support this resolution. If we read some of the details, whereas the legislation would allow many communities in Dutchess County to take advantage of federal funds to protect this water body, it would increase the eligibility for technical assistance under the local waterfront revitalization administered by the Division of Coastal Resources under New York State Department. My point to the community is that the fact that the federal funds, I like to keep the federal government out of our neighborhoods. Every time we hear the federal coming in our backyards, I see danger. So it's a very big concern for me. This is taxpayers' dollars, and I also feel that we do not have to ask permission to the federal government to remediate any situation in our backyards. It could be a future problem, not tomorrow, but probably some of us are not going to be around 20 years from now. And again, this could be an issue. I just want to bring another example that when FEMA came in our backyards and readdressed the storms and rezoned our neighborhoods, a lot of people have had their insurance policies canceled, and that's thanks to the federal government. So I will be a little cautious. I know that it's only a resolution, but I have some reservation about this, so I cannot vote in favor of this.
Well, I understand what you're saying, Councilman, and to a point, I agree with you. We want to limit the federal government's reach. But I did reach out to Assemblywoman Barrett's office today, and I talked to a gentleman there who knew a little bit about this. And the crux behind this legislation is to allow towns who live on the creek to apply for these grants, because they have to be, in order to get these grants, they have to be designated inland waterways. Otherwise, they don't qualify. So, and these are for revitalization and for cleanup. So I don't want to speak for other towns, but they may not have the money, and they may need to go to apply for these grants and get them, and to help their communities. That's just my 2 cents on it.
I understand your concern about that, but again, I would like to put a resolution forward to see our legislators at the state level put a resolution forward to limit the taxation from the federal government so that the localities, East Fishkill could keep more of their dollars.
We would all
I think
agree with
that
that.
we know how to
Absolutely.
spend our dollars better than the federal government. So we're sending our taxpayer dollars to the federal, and then we're begging them for our little projects. I'm very much against that. I think that we know how to best spend our dollars. And if we start the process of thinking that the federal government does not belong in our backyards and to keep them off limit, probably years from now we'll be all better off.
Then we won't have to apply for this grant.
I really,
Yep.
you know,
Unfortunately, a lot with
they're
the
putting a
grants, the money-
carrot in front of my face, so I bite into the carrot.
I understand
But
that,
there could be consequences later on.
oh, there's consequences when I loan my kids money, trust me, so.
Okay, thank you. Councilman D'Alessandro, any thoughts on the matter?
No thoughts.
Okay.
If the municipalities could receive the grants and this is the only way, then
Yeah. Okay.
unfortunately, certain processes are out of our hands.
Oh, absolutely.
Excuse me.
I do
And
believe
I
that the
understand
federal government got involved with this type of stuff, probably with the Clean Water Act, and I think that was passed decades ago in the federal government that started all this, started MS4, started all these programs. Understanding and concern about grants, I would like to say just a couple things. I sent out an email in regards to this thing about, I don't want to confuse this grant with the recent remapping of the floodplains, because this grant, and I agree, there's a certain philosophical thing about grants. When we send the money up to Washington, they give it back to us as grants. I understand that philosophically. I don't agree with it. I wish the federal government would let's just keep more of our own money. The states too, and probably even the county, I wouldn't mind that. But being as this is the process that they like to designate how the money is used, the FEMA grants, the FEMA flood maps, actually, the FEMA flood maps were actually originally mapped back in the late 70s, I think early 80s. They were downstairs in our building department forever. I would imagine that was when the federal government realized about flooding. FEMA came out, did these maps. We had the same maps down in the building department for probably 30 years. Sometime in the late 90s, FEMA decided we have to do new maps. Well, the federal government comes out and does new maps, and there are concerns with the accuracy of them. I certainly know that, and if anybody has concern that they have been miscalculated or misrepresented in the FEMA map, they come to the town. We have a floodplain administrator on staff that you can talk to. So certainly we feel, the federal government at every level, obviously paying these flood insurance premiums. I pay them myself. I was not in a floodplain. Now I'm in a floodplain. I was like just between two floodplains, and now they've just closed them up, so I'm in a floodplain. So I pay these flood insurance premiums too, which is difficult. But I don't want to confuse this grant application with the remapping of the floodplains. They're two separate issues. I support this, I support cleaning our creeks, and I think we need healthy waterways. I think that is just a basic thing that we need to keep an eye on. Undertaking, I would respect everybody's opinion. We have a motion and a second, so now if we I would just take, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilperson Cassidy is absent. Councilperson Del Sandro.
Aye.
Councilperson Franco.
Aye.
Supervisor Hickman.
Aye.
Councilperson Marinaro.
Nay.
Okay, the resolution passes, and I'd like to thank everybody, again, understanding philosophically the issues with this, and this is really to help other communities. So we'll see how it goes. Thank you very much. Number 15 is to reappoint Lime Kiln staff. All right, I lost my 15 here. Councilman Franco, would you read this one? Sure.
Whereas the part-time recreation assistant at the Lime Kiln Recreation Facility was appointed to a one-year basis, and whereas it is time to renew said appointments, now therefore be it resolved, the town board does reappoint the part-time recreation assistants for a time period of 1 year, and be it further resolved that the list of workers attached hereto being hereby are reconstituted and appointed.
Thank you very much. We have a list of our part-time, of our workers at Lime Kiln, and if everybody's okay, do I have a motion to reappoint the part-time staff at Lime Kiln Recreation Facility?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much.
Are we going to have any discussion on this?
Oh, would you like to discuss it? Sure. Sometimes I ask for a discussion. I thought it was what you call slam dunk. Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
I had asked Ms. McHugh to furnish some additional information regarding the operation of the Lime Kiln facility. I have not received yet that information. I know that when we purchased the facility, the question was asked from some member of the community, how could we operate this facility? How many part-timers do we need? I remember that at the time, the number was a lot less than what we have on the list today. Even though this is not a lot of money, I would like to see if this facility is actually carrying or if it's costing us money. I cannot vote on this at this time, unfortunately.
Okay.
I did not get that information,
Okay.
so I think the community needs to know, again, it's not a lot of money, but
Right.
still.
Okay. I have no problem with that. Their reappointments come up every April because originally when we purchased Lime Kiln, we actually got up and running at April. We did pass the resolution, so if you're okay with letting, this is, as you say, this is not a lot of money, but we
Right.
can look further into the operations and costs of Lime Kiln, absolutely.